So Elon Musk's company and Elon Musk are under attack from coast to coast. There's this new campaign to vandalize Tesla vehicles, Tesla dealerships, to key, when you take your key and you scratch, which is very expensive to fix, the side of a Tesla car. Some people are throwing Molotov cocktails at the Tesla vehicles. And again, we've seen even vehicle dealerships targeted. This is Elon Musk is quickly becoming the left's favorite target, even more so than Hitler, fascist, orange man, bad Trump. And what we're seeing now is some Democrats sound awfully close to defending those attacks on Tesla and the dealerships. They're smart enough not to say that explicitly, but they're sounding awfully close. Before I get to Walz, here's left-wing operative and Hillary Clinton BFF Neera Tanden versus Scott Jennings on CNN last night.
And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
No, I've never. I don't support.
Are we okay with
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let's do this January 6th and then Neera.
I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail, 1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent or opposition from Elon Musk.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides. Right.
I'm so sorry to say that people are legitimately upset. They're legitimately upset at Elon Musk, and they're doing it on their own, but there is no reason to have violence in the country. But I just wish all of us would support criticism of, or would support punishing people who are violent wherever they are.
So they're very upset. They're legitimately upset. They're doing it on their own. And we should really be condemning January 6th in this moment as well. Your thoughts on that one, Charles?
She just can't do it, can she? All she has to say, all she's obliged to say as the citizen of a free republic is it is never acceptable to firebomb cars because you don't like the guy who owns the company. And she can't do it. Joe Biden, by the way, nominated her for a federal position. Yeah. Thankfully, the Senate shot it down. Joe Manchin, I think, saw sense. But she cannot do it. And that is because at the root of modern American progressivism is the suspicion at best and the conviction at worst that violence is sometimes justified, that riots are necessary, and that all these power dynamics and hierarchies of grievances that we've been treated to for years justify what we see on the streets often and here at car dealerships. It's absolutely astonishing to me that she can't do it. And the newspapers, incidentally, have published headlines over and over again that run a little bit like Neera Tanden's answer there, which is suggesting that Elon Musk has angered people and therefore that they can't be held responsible if they resort to violence. It's appalling.
Rich, we did have the almost Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz, decide to weigh in on this. And here's what he had to say in response to Elon Musk. I mean, obviously in response to Elon and what he's doing with the federal government and all that. But here's what he decided while Tesla's under attack, while Elon's under attack. This was his message yesterday.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
So your thoughts on that, as this is one of the largest American manufacturers and employers of Americans that we have, but he's celebrating the drop in stock. This, not to mention, as Elon Musk rescues our 2 astronauts who were stuck on the International Space Station. It's just your thoughts.
Yeah, it's meant to punish and coerce Elon Musk. And this whole campaign is loathsome and un-American. Now, it's fine, obviously, to protest if it's peaceful and lawful. It's fine to boycott. There's a boycott against Bud Light a year or 2 ago, but I don't remember Bud Light delivery trucks getting Molotov cocktailed or 7-Elevens getting shot up. So this is a low level, it's not hijacking planes, but it is a low level form of domestic terrorism, the basic definition of which is violent acts that are ideologically motivated and meant to change the course of a government or government policy. They want to make Elon Musk afraid. I don't think he scares easily, but they want to make the people who work for him afraid. They want to make the potential customers afraid. They want to make the people who own the cars afraid, right? The last thing you want to think of is my car might be vandalized, right? This is an expensive vehicle. So whenever the left talks about direct action, you need to take measures to protect your person and your property. And that they're celebrating this or can't condemn it is utterly contemptible.
And speaking of the left's celebration of violence, here's another soundbite. This one is still Tim Walz, but it's on Gavin Newsom's podcast Tuesday.
You got to respect people you disagree with, and you can't just dismiss people.
How do you fight it?
This notion
I think
of
I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can go wrong, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
No, but it's a natural reaction. I think it's one of the reasons we're losing so many men. And again, it's multi-ethnic. It's not just white men. We're losing them. We're losing them to these guys online. That's why I brought.
These are bad guys, though. These are bad guys.
But they exist, and we could deny they exist. They exist. Not only they exist, they persist, and they're actually influencing young kids every single day.
How do we push some of those guys back under a rock?
I think we have to first understand what their motivations are. I think we have to understand what they're actually doing. And
you don't
think that's
it's
important.
Racism and misogyny?
Oh my God, there's so much in there. I'll start with you on it, Rich, since Charlie and I have done a lot together. That there's everything in there, right? Like, I'm going to kick their ass. Okay, sure, Jan. These are bad guys, the online influencers. He's clearly talking about, sort of the manosphere that helped get Trump elected. They're bad. And then how do we kick them back under a rock? The leftist instinct to silence, always there when it's not their POV. And then just the cherry on top, they're all racists and misogynists. Couldn't, if I sent you into like a back room with a bot and you were to program it to say the things that the left believes about the right half of America, that's what you'd come out with.
Yeah, and that was the guy they selected that was supposed to appeal to ordinary Americans and to rural men, Tim Walz. Right. When he says push under a rock, it's consistent with what we heard from him about the First Amendment, which he totally doesn't understand, and says that it bans hate speech, right? So this is ultimately where they want to go. They want to censor and coerce. So I'm not a big Gavin Newsom fan. Obviously, the guy is way too slick. But the project here, not sure whether it's going to work out for him politically, but the project to at least understand, that's a huge step forward. And that big debate between Walz and Newsom is right. Let's understand what's going on and maybe find out a way to appeal to these people once you know why they've gone to what they consider the dark side. But Walz is with the left. No, they're horrible. They're racist, they're misogynist, nothing to learn, nothing to understand. We're righteous and they need to go away. And that's the attitude. We've seen it for a long time for the left, but it was the attitude that sunk Hillary Clinton in 2016, and they're still not over it. It's not solvable for them, Charles. They can sit there all day long. Tim Walz thinks the answer to losing young men as voters is for him to be like, I'm going to kick some ass. I'm going to kick the ass. I'm going to do it. And
as opposed to the way they talk about men, the way they talk about white men, their policies when it comes to white men getting jobs and getting ahead and treating them like they're second-class citizens. Not to mention the irony of these two dudes, these two governors, talking about like how we've lost all these young male voters who are literally running the most insane leftist states in the union when it comes to the trans insanity and so-called trans children. I mean, like the policies, Walz is the only one further to the left than Gavin Newsom when it comes to what can be done with a child who expresses gender confusion. He made Minnesota a so-called trans sanctuary state where the state can wrest custody from a parent who won't, quote, affirm. Gavin Newsom, right there, I mean, a sliver behind him in California. And these two are like, well, we just have to figure out how we're losing voters, especially men, by the droves. Gee, maybe we need to have more tough talk about kicking ass.
Yeah, it will never cease to be weird that having put together a ticket that consisted of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, the Democrats went on a 2-week offensive where they described verbatim J.D. Vance as being weird. Tim Walz is one of the most weird people I've ever seen in politics. I've lived in two countries. I've spent some time in a third, France, which is well known for having strange politicians. And Tim Walz may well take the cake. He also can't decide there, which I think is genuinely interesting, whether or not he wishes to condemn what he sees as toxic masculine men or emulate them. It's an odd thing to do, to say we need to put them under the rock, they're bad people, those sort of men have no place effectively in our politics, but to start the segment saying, I'm going to kick their ass. Because the vast majority of the people he's talking about would not say that. Now, if you threaten their girlfriend, they'll tell you they'll kick your ass. But they wouldn't start with that. There wouldn't be the opening gambit. So he seems somewhat confused as to whether he wants to eradicate them or to become them.
You don't go out and buy a life jacket when the boat is already sinking, and you don't buy gold when the economy has already collapsed. Clearly, others are heeding this advice as gold hit all-time highs already this year. It's not too late for you, too. And you could have Birch Gold help you diversify into physical gold. Birch Gold specializes in helping you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold for no money out of pocket. One recent 5-star review said Birch Gold was, quote, knowledgeable, helpful, non-pressure. Get your free info kit on gold by texting the letters MK to the number 989898. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, just text MK to 989898 and let the experts at Birch Gold help you secure your future today with gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.